Yes. Hey, I'm not saying.
Well,
I
gonna say, Ken, if you wore a mask, we wouldn't have that happen all the time. But no, you keep refusing.
Hey, you heard what I said, right?
What?
I said, yeah, I'm not saying I was ugly, but I was sped by slingshot as a baby.
So hey, I mean, everyone's happy today because football's back today, right? No more. Now we're going to start to put stuff in the field. Granted, the next couple weeks will be frustrating, though, in a sense, because everyone's going to be the hype trains because of practice.
It happens every year.
Yeah, and I'm going to remind Bears fans of something. Last year at this time, we thought Chase Claypool. Okay, now we see why Poles traded from him because he had a phenomenal camp, right? I mean, everyone remembers like all the dynamic catches he was making and all this, that, and coming out of camp. Wow, Chase Claypool is going to be awesome. And then week 1 happened, and it was like,
I was going to say, did he even get out of the play? Did he even get out of the preseason?
So after week 1,
he did. He showed up week 1 versus back.
Well, did he show up though, JB? Did he show up? Because after week 1, they're like, well, he was sloughing on his blocking.
Played well. I said he showed up.
After week 1, they're like, he didn't get any catches. He was sloughing on his blocking, and he came out and said, "Yeah, I kind of slept in the block." Oh my God, Minneapolis is in the house.
I heard Skull's an acronym. Do you guys know what that stands for? Still losing.
Still Kings of losing. That's what I thought it was for. I mean,
hey, that's my second favorite acronym next to the Bills. Boy, I love losing Super Bowls.
Yep.
You know what mine is? USMC, Uncle Sam's Misguided Children.
That fits too.
I'm gonna have to tell that one to my old man.
And the Navy though has the best ones. I mean, there's the ones that look. The Navy acronym is the one people need to listen to sometimes. Never again volunteer yourself.
Anybody that John Dorn is not Paul Merkel for the Bears because you've never seen either person in the same place.
No, I promise you.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Why do you gotta start that this morning, man? Come on.
There's only one John Dorn and only one Paul Merkel, and they are not the same.
Well, I know that they have
terms of endearment. Terms of endearment.
They have
Still Kings of losing.
Kings of losing.
John Dorn, Paul Merkel, they have the same accuracy. They call him Nostradamus and Nostradamus Jr.
Nostradamus. Yeah, that's what I call Merkel.
Yeah, but hold on a second, John. You're missing the point here. Okay, John, I know you're doing that's a John. It's a Dornism, but Dorn, we're doing acronyms. So how does SOL spell lions?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I'm just saying, John.
L-Y-I-N-G.
Need an acronym.
L-I-I-N-G.
It does if you use the hieroglyphics for lions.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. I mean, bro, it's been a while since they won anything. I mean, a division at least. So.
Morning, Matt.
You can say we
John,
had to
look at that. John Sitter now going Lions. I need an acronym for Lions. We'll come up with one. Watch. By the end of the show, Dorn will have a Lions acronym. I guarantee it. See, but that doesn't work. John, acronym. Acronyms.
Yoli's jumping on Skull.
Yeah.
Barney's in the house. Barney's in
We
the house.
don't have a good one for the Air Force. We just call them Chair Force.
Come on, man. The Air Force is who comes in and drops the bombs. You can't be talking shit on those guys. They come save your ass.
They're the Chair Force. They do it from their chairs in their offices. They guide the
I get it. But, bro, that's
football part.
That's you, Ken. I'm the other guy.
Ever since he said that, I'm never going to.
I know, man. He said it yesterday.
All right, here we go. Luca with the obvious military one, but losing is our nomenclature, suckers. That one's good for the Lions. I like that one. That's a military inspired one because who else uses the word nomenclature?
Right.
Yeah, right.
At least he came up with one.
Yeah.
I got to give it to him, bro.
Hey, he came up with
Hey,
Morning.
morning, Boggs.
That's the guy we call BCP. And if you look at his chin, you understand it. It's butt chin Padawan.
All right, there you guys are saying good morning to each other. Yoli, it's here today.
Yeah, it starts today, Yoli.
Starts for about.
Now we get to hear all the the homer takes for the next week or two of how great guys look, or how bad they look in practice, or how teams are so screwed because this player had a bad day, or how they're going to be so awesome because this player looked great today at practice.
How many teams got a new coach?
Oh, that's cool. The mechanic workers are watching the show with us.
Well, thanks, Yoli.
Thank you, Yoli.
Viewers.
Oh, well, okay. Here now might change lines.
Perfect.
Losing is our natural state. That one's good. That one's good.
Right there.
Yeah. I still like the nomenclature one because of that, the military thing. But, yeah.
Do the Lions fans do the wave at training camp too? No.
No, but they put up training camp banners.
No, we don't. You have us confused with the Panthers.
Wow.
I don't get anymore. Early JB, let's go. Hello, Ricky. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Homer splitting hairs here too. You wouldn't think we stop
Dude,
it.
I'm telling you though. I'll tell you this. It is Orlando. You're right though. It is exhausting because here's what's going to happen. Day one of camp, some guy is going to have just like a great day of practice. It's just going to happen. And then the fans on Facebook and the clickbait stuff is going to be, Rob goes off for 8 phenomenal one-handed catches, looking like he's going to be the best receiver in NFL history.
Wait.
Yeah. And then like another camp, he'd be like,
close.
What was that?
And here comes Roma Doomsday doing the same thing in pajamas.
I'm telling you.
And then there'll be like another practice. It'll be like, JV has down day of practice. Lions in trouble.
Right.
Okay. It's like, come on, guys, it's practice.
It's just like Hendon Hooker had 3 bad days of practice throughout all 3 weeks of the OTAs. Oh, Lions are in trouble. Their backup can't play.
Yeah. That's just like, bro, no one's covering, there's no defense out there. There's nobody covering these guys. Everybody's just running routes just to run them, just to get in the motion. This is,
and that's
let's get some real football going. Let's see some preseason football. At least then we can talk about someone, going against each other. The rookies are going to be fighting for their jobs. At least we'll see something.
So Isaac, there is signing news, just not the signing news you were thinking of.
Yeah,
Cleveland extended their kicker.
Hey,
Cleveland extended their Cleveland. Look, you're gonna be happy. You're gonna get some tax money out of Cleveland. They extended their kicker for 3 years, $13.9 million. For Rome and the 5 other first round picks that haven't signed yet. So we did some more research here as a collective group. They can still participate in camp today, even without their contract. It's not until the veterans show up when it has to be done, supposedly. According to Adam Schefter, good old Shefty, he's like, yeah, whatever, it's gonna get done. He thinks though.
On it today.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get through this thought before we switch the train. He's thinking that a Doomsday is no big deal, but the thing with Caleb he thought was interesting is the structure of Caleb's corporation, the way he does business is a little different. That could be why but he's thinking it's going to be fully guaranteed with all the signing bonus up front. So that kind of tracks. So we'll see how that goes. Now let's look at the comments.
Hey, Luca, we saved those foot-long glizzies for you chokers.
No, that's when you're supposed to say yes, but it still doesn't beat your record of a full 9 without a single bite taken.
Yeah, we get done today. I think it's going to be interesting. Good morning, Ralph.
Yeah, Ken was playing. Ken was playing. He was listening to Shefty before the show. We was all listening to it.
Ralph is my Steelers guy that comes on my NFL Roundtable Talks on Wednesday night.
You know,
Oh, hey, what's up? The guy Ralph. He's a Steelers fan. What's up, Ralph?
Yep.
Welcome
Dude,
to the show.
you know what, Ralph, that's actually a good question for
He said,
Ralph.
well played. He said, well played.
Actually, you know, a good question for Ralph is like,
That's
Ralph,
hilarious.
let us know, who do you think your starting quarterback is by, say, week 5?
Oh, he's already said it. More than likely, it's Justin Fields.
Oh, he's on the field train? Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that on Saturday.
Really, you guys think? So you think Russ will be out by week 5? Why?
He
Now,
could
why
be.
is this? Oh, I want to hear this.
Why is this? Because ever since Russell Wilson came back from his injury, his play has not improved. It's degraded. So until he proves he can do it on the field, why does anybody think he's going to last longer than week 5? Because Mike Tomlin does not wait for a quarterback to prove he's worthy of staying on the field.
Oh, I
He'll make
understand.
it if they're struggling.
We talk about Mike Tomlin, like I've said before, Mike Tomlin's not really a quarterback coach. He inherited Big Ben. He hasn't really produced a quarterback since he's been the head coach. He's gotten guys, and that's what he runs with best. But seriously, he's never really trained up a quarterback.
Isaac says, interesting. Aston Scrub, the Vikings post off the social media.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe they told him he's on a short leash because of the stunts he's pulled the past 2 years, and he didn't like that. Again, speculation.
He could be. He could just be getting benched.
Here's the thing, and this is federally through every state that has weed legal. Weed may be legal, but it is not legal to be under the influence of weed while driving your vehicle in any of those states.
Right.
So if they do that test and it's proven he was high while his keys in the ignition and the engine's running, that's the same as blowing a 0.08 or higher.
And you know what, though, Jeremy? It's more to the point. The NFL said they're not going to test for it anymore. However, you know what I mean? You get busted for
but it's not the NFL testing him. It's not the end. It's the state that
right.
he got.
That's what, no. But Rob, go further with it. Right? The NFL said we're not going to test for it anymore. But if you get busted for being high on weed while driving, the NFL is going to slap the wee.
Yeah,
you know, and so he's in for a world of hurt. It's like if you get a DUI, the NFL's like, don't drink and drive, numb nuts. But if you get a DWI for being high on weed, they're like, oh, you're doing drugs, huh?
That's because they haven't set up they haven't set up like law enforcement. It's at their own discretion. They have the rules saying don't smoke weed, don't be caught, but they're not going to enforce it themselves. But if you make it public and it gets them out there, well, now they got to do their due diligence because they have a rule against it and slap your hand, and that's what's going to happen here. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Bear down, Matt. Oh, you got to love Darcy. Only a Lions fan. Only a Lions fan. He's a Lions fan. Hey, Darcy. Hey, wait. I'll take it. I'll feel
legit question. It's a legit question.
Oh, Darcy, I got a question for you. Is this the year the Lions will finally get to a Super Bowl? And
another legit question.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I'll answer that for you as a Lions fan. We hope so. It is.
Well, you hope every year.
Contract with Goff for 2 years. If it isn't, I'm telling you right now, year 3 he'll be ejected. Whether nobody likes it or not. If you look at year 3, we got $69 million in dead cap that year. 38 guys under the roster, right? Only you need 10 to 18 to sign your rookie draft picks, regardless of position. So what you do? You jettison him, get $5 more million, and you run with Hooker in his last year of his rookie contract.
Yeah,
that's probably part of the reason why he scrubbed his stuff too, Isaac. You're right about that.
But
as I'm catching up some comments here as you guys are going.
Russell will be better than
I got to personally think Russell Wilson's going to be the guy unless he proves that he's absolute dog water.
And they haven't said anything bad about him being in camp there. So
going back on the Russell Wilson thing, though, it's like Russell.
Good point,
Russ. Yeah, I know. Russ had some. Russ still had some games last year though where he put up some numbers. I mean, it's not that Russ is a terrible quarterback. I think there's a lot of other things about Russ that create a situation where Fields takes over for him. And I think actually, I mean, obviously, look at this point, Fields is higher upside, right? Because the kid's still improving, still getting better.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, there's a lot of factors there. Believe it or not, the more expensive of the two to the Steelers right now is Justin Fields, costing them more money too. He's more expensive on their books.
At the same time, the reason why
because they're only $1 million
is so he can. Actually, it might not. They might keep him on the bench till week 9, and here's why: if he doesn't play 51% of the snaps,
Yeah. You know what? Though, no, I mean, you know what though, JB? I mean, I get. That was like saying the Jets weren't going to let Rodgers play. Dude, they don't care. I mean, he just
They
wants
didn't let him play. They purposely put the pothole behind Aaron Rodgers. That one.
I mean,
they opted for the family-sized bag of chips instead of the penny.
Do you really think Tomlin, though, is going to be sitting there thinking about, when he's trying to win games, win the division, or get in the playoffs, do you think he really cares about that?
He's going to go, holy shit, I still have an amazing defense. Let's roll with that.
Yeah, I don't think he cares about that. I think he just wants the best player out there. And until Russell's not that guy, Fields is just the backup, I mean, that's how it is.
I mean, he's a backup with a lot of upside, too. That's the other thing. He could all – in the other pieces –
he could work out together. His footwork looked great.
Thorne said there, Fields improving in what? Fumbles? He had the least amount of fumbles as last year he played for Chicago. Yeah. He had his least amount of interceptions, his most amount of touchdowns, and his most amount of yards, which is a sign that every year he got better in Chicago. I don't want it. I'm not gonna poo-poo it. I'm not. He had more yards.
Jeremy, they added talent. That's why they got better. They added DJ Moore. That helped them tremendously get better.
If he didn't get better, that wouldn't have happened. DJ Moore would have looked like he was injury prone here.
All I'm saying is he in all his time he never hit 3,000 yards. He never hit. He never had big numbers, and that's why they walked away from him.
But look at where JB though. I know we've gone through this ad nauseum and the whole do they trade and thing, but when you look at his receiving core, only two of his pass catchers were in the green for PFF, and they both had career years: Cole Kmet and DJ Moore. Everyone else had high drop rates, bad contested ball rates.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you look at it, if you take away the drop, and we talked about this too with Jameson Williams, who actually had the second least amount of drops on the team. As much as anybody wants to sit here and poo-poo it, all of his drops came in his first 3 weeks after he got off the suspension. So Josh Reynolds had more drops. Khalif Raymond, who didn't play half a season, had more drops than J-Mo. That's something to think about. Everybody you guys said was clutch had more drops than J-Mo last year.
Yeah, but by volume, because those other guys get more targets, that's why it's up for more drops for them. They get more targets.
Right.
J-Mo wouldn't get 3 or 4 targets a game. That's it.
But at the same time, when you don't have a drop, when you are targeted every game, and he was targeted at least once every game after that, right? Let's talk about this. He was targeted once every game after that. From week 8 through week 18, he didn't have a drop. He didn't have a drop in the wild card round. He didn't have a drop in the divisional round. Targeted 5 times there. He was targeted a total of 4 times in the NFC Championship game, and he had 1 drop.
That's 25%.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, JB's argument's this, and I get what you're saying, Rob. Well, they added talent. Well, yeah. They had a talent, and he kept getting better as the talent got better around him, too. There's a symbiotic relationship that happened there.
That.
And really, when you think about it, the only talent they added for him was DJ Moore, right? Because Kmet was already there, right?
But that was like the difference. And what I'm saying is, look the year before when you only had 3 wins. I mean, he had no talent around him, and he could only go so far.
And even in those games, they weren't getting offensively. We're not, he did stuff, right? That's we had all the rushing yards and all the, oh my God, look at, so he was still trying to find ways to keep them in games. The guy, look at Mike said it best. If the Panthers won more games, Justin would still be a Bear. I've said it before. Look at
I might agree with you on that 100%.
I mean, it's to me, the only reason he's not a Bear is because we had the number 1 pick again. And when they looked at Caleb, they said, okay, either it could be an either or both. The guy's just as good or better than Fields right now, 1. Or 2, he has a much higher ceiling than Fields. On a 3rd. Or he's comparable, but does some things that Fields doesn't do that we like, and doesn't do some things that Fields does that we don't like. I mean, that's kind of like a hybrid of the first one. So, I mean, that all makes sense. So I look at if Fields ends up being the starter in Pittsburgh in short order within, at some point early in the season, that's not a bad thing for them because you got a quarterback who's on the rise. Now, the problem in out there in Pittsburgh is just like you had in Chicago. Where's the talent level of the receiving core at? Where's the talent level of the skill players at on offense? The plus side is their offensive line's a little bit better than what Chicago had. So he's got a plus there. But I mean, that's when we look at these quarterbacks, I don't care what team it is, you got to look at a couple things. What's the talent level of the people around them? What's the offensive line like? Those are the two biggest indicators of whether a guy's going to be successful or not. I don't care how good of a quarterback you are. If your offensive line lets him in like, oh, would you like to speak to their quarterback? He's right there. Please go have a word with him. And you have receivers who can't catch the ball.
Never got a chance to answer. I don't know why he assumes that's my answer. Darcy,
that was directed at you, bro. Jeremy's never said we all. That's his biggest excuse. You never heard him say that. We always lose on Thanksgiving. We always. That comment was directed at Darcy. I think he's trying to deflect it on you.
Morning, Rob.
Right. I haven't even answered that question from Bear Down Mike yet, but Bear Down Mike was actually directing it at Darcy because he made the comment about.
Go ahead and answer that question, Darcy.
Instead of answering
every quarterback.
That's the usual thing, right?
Dorn, every quarterback needs people around to make them look good. Look at the Packers had the 10th ranked offensive line in pass protection last year. If they were ranked 25th, is Jordan Love as good as he was last year? No, he's not. Every quarterback needs good players around them on some level, whether it be a good O-line or good skill position players to bail them out for dump passes or whatever, to get rid of the ball. They all need it. I don't care how good of a quarterback you are. You need to have some people around you, whether it be the line or skill players or both.
Well, that's just how you get good quarterback development is if you got a solid running back and a solid O-line. That's how, that's all in helping your quarterback improve. So
Breeze and Hurts, like how good were their O-lines though? Pretty good.
Right.
And then they added other talent around them. I mean, that's the key has always been the O-line, right? If you don't have a good O-line, you can't keep your quarterback on their feet, then who cares how good they are? And who cares how great receivers are?
Why do people have Saints and Panthers fighting for the bottom of the division? Because both teams have a bad O-line right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no fighting about it. And Brent, I kind of agree with you.
Another one on that kick. I see that. I mean, if it works out for Fields, great for him. I mean, he's not a Bear anymore. I don't really care if it works out for him, but I mean, I don't like to see a wasted talent. So I mean, if he's got it to do it, I mean, but I just don't see how what's his name's he's gonna make him a better player. He's never done it yet. He still has not done it with any quarterback he's had.
Who?
So,
Tomlin.
Yeah, Tomlin, man. I mean, he just
but I think it's one of those things where maybe he learns from Russ more than anything.
I mean, that's why I don't know if he's out in 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why that is. It's the same reason why people can't decide if Goff is or not. It's because the talent level on the team around them is so good, it makes up for a lot of mistakes that a QB makes.
Yeah.
You can say what you want, but that is the facts on both matters. This is the first time in Goff's career, and yet he had his best numbers the year the Rams went to the Super Bowl than any other season he's had. This is his first time cracking the top 10. And Some Lions fans and podcasters are saying, no, this is disrespect for Goff. It's the first time he's gotten any respect out of media anywhere to be put into the top 10. So I tell them all to shut the hell up, enjoy it while you got it, because it may not last long.
I mean, like when you look at Purdy though, like Purdy walked into a great situation as Mr. Bell to a stacked team. I mean, it's kind of like Kurt Warner-esque. I mean, was Kurt Warner a elite quarterback when he played for St. Louis in his early years?
I can solve
the Giants.
I can solve this argument very easily.
Yeah, he wasn't. And then he went to the Giants and he sucked. And then he went to Arizona. And at the end of his career, he was elite-ish.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure anybody here on this panel could look elite throwing the ball to Q and Fitzy.
Well, let me ask you: is Patrick Mahomes not elite? Is he not the most elite quarterback in the league?
That's who is.
Would they be better if he was playing? I mean, would he be better on that team than Purdy?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Well,
exactly. So then does that say Purdy's elite? Does that say Purdy's elite?
Hold on,
because there's a difference between quarterbacks.
If you want to talk about in the rookie year, that could be debatable. That could be debatable in their rookie year, as is today.
If you we're talking right now, if you took Purdy and put him on the Chiefs and took Mahomes and put him on the 49ers, I guarantee you the 49ers do not lose a game.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So
I mean, but that's the thing, though. But look, when you say Mahomes today versus Purdy today, Mahomes also has more experience. He's had a bunch of other things that Purdy hasn't had.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a lot higher talent ceiling, too.
Yeah.
Right, but you're also talking about fourth-year Purdy. This will be his fourth year, right, or third year? He's been to the Super Bowl once, been to the NFC Championship game. Twice he got hurt the first year. So if you think about it, he's had the same career projection as Mahomes, but without a Super Bowl.
So do you pay Purdy?
You kind of have to.
I kind of agree with that. Kind of have to.
Because right now you can't guarantee that another rookie quarterback is going to come in and be as good.
But Purdy's a quarterback.
He's Alex Smith 3.0 is what he is there.
I mean, though he's a quarterback who look at. He's a quarterback who came into there's something to think about though with this. The level of how good these quarterbacks come out of the draft is from first one to last one in each draft, right? Here's a guy who's Mr. Irrelevant, and now he's the everyday starter on a team that was stacked. He's got a great O-line, he's got great weapons to throw to. He's like Tyson Bagent, confident, right, in himself, like Bagent. Undrafted free agent rookie when he came to the Bears, but he's confident, has poise. Purdy has those too, right? So those are some of those intangibles. But get any quarterback given a good O-line and a good set of weapons can be better than average.
Right. And you say you don't see Alex Smith? Okay, he's a guy who can throw the ball 40 yards down the field. No, Packer Rob did. So I'm going to go through the.
He reminds me of Goff more than anybody. I'm just saying.
And they say Goff is Alex Smith 2.0, and that's why I said 3.0. I literally just was saying that.
I don't see Alex Smith. I see Jared Goff, but I don't see Alex Smith.
I do.
Alex Smith was a game manager that could throw the ball 40 yards in the air accurately. Alex Smith was a guy when the pocket broke down, he wouldn't get you 20 yards, but he would get you a first down on any third down, 8 yards or less. Purdy does those exact same things. Accurate, up to 25 yards like nobody's business, as long as there's no pressure on him. And as long as Trent Williams is healthy to protect his blind side, nobody touches him.
And look at, and he's got CMC. I mean, he's got weapons. But watch when those guys, because quarterbacks
in the league,
quarterbacks last longer. Quarterbacks last longer than skill players, right? So as they lose Debo, they lose Ayuk, they lose CMC, as they age out of league or production drops way off for them, and Purdy is still there. There will be a massive drop off possibly for him in his career, and fans will be like, "Well, why are we having this guy?" Because the guy came into the perfect situation. I mean, you could drop almost any quarterback in that San Francisco situation, and they were going to do well. Just like you could have dropped almost any quarterback in Kansas City situation. Speaking of Alex Smith, right? Swap out Mahomes for any of those rookies from that draft class, Watson, Fields, whatever. They were still going to be successful. Or not Fields, I mean Trubisky. They're going to be successful. So, a lot of times it's a situation these rookie quarterbacks come into with O-lines and talent makes a huge impact on whether they have a good career or they suck. How many great talented quarterbacks that were in college were like light years beyond all the competition, get to the NFL and get to a team that has no weapons, no nothing, and what happens to most of them?
David Carr, perfect example.
David Carr, Ryan Leaf, DeMarcus
Well,
Russell.
he was a little nuts.
No, but I don't care. Those are all guys that had everything going for them in college, came to the NFL, didn't have everything perfect, and fell apart. Johnny Manziel, another one, but he more psychologically failed than anything. He had all
whatever happened to Rosen. Rosen was the number one. Whatever happened to Rosen, he was replaced the next year.
Yeah, and that was because they switched. Remember, they just switched the GM, the coach, and everything.
Yeah.
And Rosen comes in, goes, "I'm the best quarterback that was in this draft, and I'm going to prove it." And then failed, got benched in week 5. If your current coach benches you in week 5, the new coach isn't want anything to do.
And you look at a lot of these guys in college, for the most part, the big name, the high draft picks, they have good old lines they play with in college. They usually have some good skill players around them. And then they come to a team, the NFL, where they have none of that.
Yep.
But just to be honest, though, Mitch Trubisky actually came into a good situation. They made the playoffs his rookie year.
Yeah. No, they didn't. It was the second year.
Or second year. Whatever. They had a good record, though, is what I'm saying. Mitch Trubisky was not the reason the Bears were sucking.
Right. Yeah,
another one.
I mean, with some of these guys, it's like it's situational. Like Purdy's in a great situation. Caleb, great situation. JJ up there in Minnesota, great situation. I think though JJ and Caleb, the situation for both of them is great across the board, minus their O-lines are not that great. However, they both have lots of skill players to dump the ball to. They both have good defenses that will somewhat bail them out if they make rookie mistakes. But both teams have O-lines that need attention.
Yes. Now, I'm going to say a quarterback that got drafted into via trade a better situation than Caleb or JJ, because they did have a good O-line. They did have a great running back. They had a great tight end. They had 2 great wide receivers when he came out of college. And number one, it was Eli Manning when he was drafted to Chicago and demanded to be traded to the Giants.
Eli wasn't drafted to Chicago. He was drafted to the Chargers.
No, he drafted San Diego. That's what I said.
Yeah, you said Chicago.
I know you said Chicago.
I meant San Diego. And demanded to be traded. So the New York Giants agreed. They took Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers went into a great team and never succeeded. With all the great things already there around him. This is what I'm saying. And I said Caleb with Chicago has the same situation as Phillip Rivers had in San Diego, is what I'm saying.
I think
so. He failed to get it done. He had a great career, but did they ever get to the Super Bowl?
He won the Super Bowl.
The San Diego never won the Super Bowl with Phillip.
No, but that's because they traded. That's because Breeze left and went to
the Saints and got a Super Bowl. But I'm saying San Diego, Phillip Rivers never got to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Phillip Rivers, yeah. And Phillip Rivers, though, he had a great career.
There's a lot of Giants fans that say if Phillip Rivers would have went there, that they would have ended up winning more than 2 Super Bowls.
I disagree. They got the most clutch postseason quarterback ever in history in Eli Manning. He just was average in the regular season. Tell me he's not. He gets to the postseason twice, both times, beats a team. One was undefeated in the Super Bowl. The other one was the same team, just they weren't undefeated.
He had very good teams he went to the Super Bowl with.
That's okay. But if you look, he was clutch in those playoffs.
I'll give him it for those 2 Super Bowls he played well. But I gotta agree with some of the Giants fans that I've heard that I think Rivers would have done better than Eli.
Rivers was a good gritty quarterback who kept his team competitive when they didn't have people, kept them competitive when they had people. Look at just because look at a better example. And Packer fans are going to whatever, but look at Green Bay's situation, right? They've had 2 great quarterbacks for 30 plus years. They've netted 2 rings out of it. Even in that situation, shows that you can have all the talent. You can have a great quarterback in a great situation for that quarterback, and it doesn't necessarily translate into wins. Why? Well, there could be your defense could be slacking that year. Your receiving core might not be that good that year. You could get outcoached. You could get any given Sunday. You can get unlucky bounces of the ball. That's the beautiful thing about this game. It doesn't matter. Like you have the best team built on paper in the history of football, but you could still get outcoached on any given Sunday. But because like that other opposing coach could have the most brilliant idea they ever had against you that day, and it worked. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about this. But when we talk about situations for quarterbacks coming into, that's pretty universal. When these guys come into a situation where they have an offensive line that basically it's like, hi, would you like to meet our quarterback? These guys for their careers are like that long. When they have a good offensive line that keeps them on their feet or gives them enough time to do something else, they usually have good long careers.
Right. And Orlando says it best. Eli has a clutch factor Rivers doesn't have, like Cousins doesn't. I mean, it's true. It's true.
Man, I can get what you're saying, but when he was playing that playoff game with no ACL or what the hell ever it was, that to me is pretty damn clutch.
Brett, I'm a little worried about the O-line too. And have a good day. Sorry, guys.
Rivers had all the talent in the world, and to never get to with that team that he had his first 4 years. Remember, his 4th year is when LT moved on to New York Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That team he had up till that point, there is no reason they shouldn't have had a Super Bowl. If you look at everything they had, Sean Merriman, Junior Seau to begin with the first couple years till he retired, he had such an amazing team around him, and to not get there and win.
For fuck's sake.
Right, LT, Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
I remember the great wide receivers they had at the time, but they had good wide receivers that made Drew Brees look good when he was throwing bad passes early in.
Yeah, but think about this, JB. Jay Cutler's best year in Chicago was the year that we had Adam Gase was the 1 year OC. Came in with OC for a year. Cutler's offense, number 2 in the NFL with Gase. Gase then immediately gets hired away as the head coach to Miami, where of course he doesn't do well. But look at that defense. Worst defense in probably the last 20 years that the Bears had. And so they didn't win a lot of games. They were competitive because Cutler would score you 42 points, but the defense would turn around and give up 45 or 48. So sometimes, like, that's the thing we got to think about, too, with these quarterbacks.
I think
you can have a really super talented offense that's going to put up points. But then your defense, like, oh, you just gave up a touchdown to our team? Oh, well, would you like one back? I mean, that does not help. And then we say, well, he couldn't win a Super Bowl. Offensively, he could have. And his defense was so bad that Pee-wee football team
San Diego, they had a top 10 defense every year those first 4 years.
I think theirs was coaching because wasn't Norv Turner the coach of it?
Yeah.
And where have we seen him have success?
In the regular season, not the postseason. I said Rivers was better in the regular season than Eli, but Eli was better in the postseason. And that had to do with the team around him and coaching. Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. If Tom Coughlin was Rivers' coach, I think he would have won a couple.
Yeah.
And by a couple, I think they would have got a few if he would have went to the Giants, is what I'm saying. I think Norv Turner massively let that team down.
But at the
It's
same
interesting
time,
though.
what, almost 10 years with
Mhm.
San Diego? And had a decent team around him until year 7 is when that defense finally fell off after everybody retired and they were rebuilding the
You know,
defense.
it's interesting because, like, and then with the Chargers, they were just good enough where coaches weren't necessarily getting fired. People then screamed their heads off, and it's hard. It's like it's kind of like look at, the Packers have kind of been the same way for a long time. They've been good enough to win the division in a division that honestly we're not that good overall as a whole divisionally. Like, the Bears will have a good season, the Vikings will have a good season. Once every decade or so, the Lions will have a good season. But I mean, but look at the Packers have been consistently decent, and so they've been consistently winning divisions. So because they win the division in our a division that isn't normally as competitive or as good because of whatever things that we do. These are our other teams. They didn't. It wasn't like, oh, we got to fire our head coach now. We got to make improvements to get better because, well, we're winning the division. We're going to the playoffs every year. Everything is good. You kind of get, not that you're stuck in mediocrity, but you're stuck in mediocrity because you didn't, you know what I'm saying? The impetus to maybe like they would have fired some of these coaches in Green Bay that stayed longer, for 8-10 years. Maybe they would have gotten 8 or 10. The NFC North was more competitive, and every year was a dogfight, right? Because they were just good enough to win the division. They were good enough to win the division every year and go to the playoffs. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not a bad, I'm not trying to knock them, but it's the same thing happened.
I'll give you that with McCarthy. I thought we should have moved on him way sooner.
Yeah, that's the only coach we had that long because there was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 coaches in the Favre era. I mean, we had 1 year with Ray Rhodes. That was a lost year. And then
But I mean, I think more with we saw that. Yeah, Rodgers is the most recent, obviously, and that was a long term. But I think they kind of were in that same boat with San Diego when they were San Diego. Is they were still a competitive team that was and they may make the playoffs and bounce, but they were like, it wasn't like. They never had that, oh my God, we have to make a change factor because they were just good. They were still winning on a level.
Have we checked the Bears and Vikings news yet? Because I want to know if both of their diva first round picks have signed yet.
Secret,
because both of them are out.
Oh, we already talked about that. Well, we talked about that like right off the bat.
JJ,
it was about being late to the show.
Here we go. JJ said something almost as stupid as Caleb Williams, though. I'm not signing my contract till I get my signing bonus up front paid. You don't get paid your signing bonus till you sign your contract.
Caleb didn't. However, Schefter this morning, he thinks that the whole signing bonus will be paid up front, and it kind of tracks. He said. And I kind of track with what Shefty was saying about Caleb's contract. He doesn't have an agent. The way he runs his business is a little different, and that's where most of the snag is, the way he runs his corporation, whatever you want to call it. But no one's freaking out saying that he's not going to sign. It's just a question of when, and no one's freaking out about it. Everyone's like, even Shefty's like, this is going to get done, whatever. It's like nothing. And then you got Rob singing the song. For now, as far as Rome Odunze, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he'll sign today.
I think he's just following Caleb. That's all. He's just following Caleb.
Rome is not following Caleb because he literally did an announcement saying he would sign the first day of the rookie part of training camp so it could be aired on Hard Knocks. That was confirmed. Caleb, on the other hand, said, I'm not signing because I know my worth.
No, he also said, look at JB, now you're, but he also said when they asked him about his contract, he's like, I'm not the one dealing with it. My lawyers are.
Right.
So,
after he said in an interview to another guy.
Yeah, I know. We know about the, what's his name interview. We talked about that last week. You were in the comments. We talked about it last week. It's like, whatever.
He did say it. He did say it.
Okay, well, they all know their worth.
The words
Okay,
were
but
said.
JB, they all know their worth.
Right. I know, Brent
Maybe
DeWitt,
said
and I
that.
said that too. And I said it last night, and I'll say it again. JJ saying that makes about as much sense as any quarterback or anybody that's the first round pick overall saying, I know my worth. It's a
They all know their
rookie
worth. They can all, they rookies. Look, he's not the first rookie to ever say something like that, or first player to ever say anything like that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's the first year we have ever heard this. And I'm going to throw it right back at you, Ken, about one thing you said. Well, these guys coming out of college dealing with the NIL will be more mature dealing with their contracts. Bullshit.
Hey, JB.
I love that shit.
Hey, JB. Some of them have been. Some of them have been. Some of them haven't. I mean, it's with NIL. We're still learning the effects. Obviously,
and that's what I was alluding to. Is that could be one of the negative effects from the NIL? Is I just made $20-30 million last year doing random spokesmanship crap, and you want me to sign for 38 for 4 years?
Actually, he made $10 million in NIL last year.
About every single first round pick.
We were wrong on the number.
There's only one other first round pick not signed than Minnesota and the Bears. Every other one is signed, so only 3 teams haven't signed their first round pick. And all 3 of those guys had big NIL deals. All 3 teams, the 5 guys that we're talking about, had big
accelerated
NIL.
the diva process. That's
Yes.
so fucking true. It accelerated the diva process.
Look at you guys think that we haven't heard anything before. You ready? Jamarcus Russell.
Holy shit.
Jamarcus Russell wasn't under a rookie salary cap. That's bullshit.
But look,
was the NIL even around then?
But you guys are listening. Because JB, we've never heard a rookie quarterback say, "I know my worth." Dude, we used to hear that every freaking year. Before the current CBA, we had all these rookies who would sit out of camp and hold out for better deals. Because why? I know I'm worth more money than what they're trying to pay me.
Since the rookie salary cap in 2012. Boom.
So now it's a shifting target because you said ever.
Jeremy.
No, I'm talking about since the CBA. Have you heard it ever?
No.
Have you heard it ever?
Yeah, no.
Before now. Since the CBA set up a rookie salary cap, we have never heard one guy say this.
Not John. JB, I already said yes. Since the CBA, yeah, we really have.
So that is where I'm going with this. It is a set salary cap. The only thing negotiable is how much signing bonus and guaranteed money you get.
Well, there's 3 things. There are 3 things that are negotiable. There's the guaranteed, the signing bonus, and then the if they should get cut, injured, whatever, don't fulfill the whole 4 years of the contract fee. Those are the 3 issues in a rookie deal, really. And you know what's funny? I mean, at the point where there's only one guy in the national sports media who's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna make a deal out of this," and everyone else in the national media is like, and the beat media is like, whatever. That's why I'm just kind of like, whatever. Even Schefter today it says this could be an issue in Chicago. He's like, he chuckled and went, "No." Next,
everyone can say no, but there's something wrong with it. And there's a reason why he has lawyers and not an agent. And why? Because he doesn't want to give up that 10 to 20% that an agent
it's one
gets.
that's wrong. That's wrong as well, JB. The NFLPA sanctioned guys take an average of 1 to 3% as a commission. 1 to 3% is what those guys pay.
Less than the 10 to 20% for the 3 lawyers. Got it.
Yeah, well, I think the lawyers, he pays a flat fee. That's the difference. He's paying them a flat fee. You know, he's paying those guys, and I think
20% for an agent.
No, it's probably less than 1 to 3%, or he'd probably just go the agent route.
Facts on that, Isaac.
Why
do you?
Man, they're gonna sign eventually, man. They're
all Jordan Love contract yet.
Hell, the only 2 teams that
it's
we're
not
having
an issue with me right now. It's not.
It's Minnesota and the Bears.
You know, I look at these guys. They'll sign. It'll be today. It'll be tomorrow. It'll be sometime.
I'm 100% believe they'll sign.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of if it's going to be a
No.
or not.
None of these guys are going to miss camp.
Caleb's not going to sign until after the Hall of Fame game.
You forget. The CBA says in order for them to be at training camp and take part in activities, they have to have
Actually,
their
that's wrong as well. That is wrong as well, according to what I was reading this morning from the NFL. They can be at camp without the rookie deal signed.
Yeah, they said it.
There's a waiver they have saying they won't sue if they get hurt. That's
well,
what the,
okay, but they can still
they have to sign a clause or something. But yeah,
but still, JB. So like, if Caleb does full camp, it's just like you know, it's still a nothing burger. He's going to be there for full camp. So, and he's not laying it like he said. You know, he says I'm not the one handling it. See, here's my whole thing on the Caleb thing. Okay, I get he says he has a bunch of his lawyers are looking at it, blah blah blah. And then someone pointed out the other day after he said, "Well, wait a minute, that goes against NFL policy." And they're right. It does go against NFL policy to have outside lawyers negotiate the contract on the player's behalf. That violates an NFL rule. But the NFL doesn't, historically, has not enforced that rule, which is interesting to me. And I'm like, well, after Caleb says it, should the NFL come down and say, hey, you all can't talk to these attorneys. You can only talk to Caleb because that's the rule. So that's my thing on this whole contract situation with Caleb. Look, I kind of think just get get the agent, pay the 1% or 3%, be done with it, and don't be dorking around with having an attorney team for your company, blah, 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 blah. Just have an agent. Be like everyone else. You know, I mean, but then you see guys like Lamar who've gone without an agent. You see guys like Roquan without an agent, and they're like, well, I can do that too. So, but that's my whole thing with like get an agent.
That's my point.
What,
you should be doing that for rookie. That's my point there.
I agree with that 100%. He's a rookie.
And you know what, maybe at the end of the day, everything that we've talked here could be absolutely trash because none of what we said was what happened behind closed doors. That's the irony of all this, right? Because we don't know. For all we know, the plan was always to have him sign on Hard Knocks.
And like you said, but Ken, at the same time, Isaac is backing us up here. You did say if this ain't signed by Tuesday, you will get worried.
No, I said no because I didn't say today. I said they report today. I would assume they'd sign today. I'll start to get worried, and this is before I knew a couple other rules and facts. So I'm not worried. They'll sign.
That's why you went and read that shit because you are worried, bro.
No, I was scrolling. No.
Because you're trying to reassure yourself that it's still going, man. Come on.
No, because I just Rob, no. I just like you do probably. I scroll through my Bleacher Report, my other sites every day looking for Bears news, and those happen to be articles that were up, and I read. I wasn't going to go search for a Caleb contract, but I mean, just in my normal looking of football stuff and stuff that we do for this show, I came across some of those things. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, this all may be a nothing burger for all these rookies because they all may sign their deals this week,
and
that's nothing. I mean, it gave us something to talk about and argue about for a couple days.
Literally said that to Woody on Hallis Hall last week because Isaac's pointing it out.
Yeah, but I didn't say. But Isaac, I didn't say I was going to be like, "Oh my God, panic on Tuesday," because they're coming to camp today, which means they could sign at any point today. They report today. Doesn't mean they're there at 08. They're at some point today.
It is 11.
At some point today, these guys start showing up to Hallis Hall.
Isaac, secret Bajan man.
Yeah, I really don't care. I mean, I'm on board with most of these guys. Like, I'm not even tripping on Caleb sign. He'll get signed. His situation is interesting. It makes it more colorful. Gives us something fun to talk about. But no, see, Josh, that's just it. He's not stressing me out. He's stressing Rob and JB and everyone else out who has to talk about it all day. Like it's the biggest thing since I said. I really don't care. I think he's going to sign. So he's not stressing me out. Like Josh. Well, hold on, let me say this, Josh. If it wasn't for these other knuckleheads and John Dorn and people in the comments, I wouldn't even be talking about Caleb's contract right now. That's how stressed out I am about it. I wouldn't even be talking about it if it wasn't for these other knuckleheads trying to say, "Oh my God, look at your quarterback." I wouldn't even give two shits.
Right,
but it's not just your quarterback; it's your wide receiver too.
Yeah,
it's both first round picks.
Your first.
You know what, Brent? Good question. Yeah, I don't know what the over under is. I don't even know what his role is going to be.
I wonder what that is, man.
I wonder what his role is going to be.
Trey Smith's injury is 5.5 games. It went up from 3.5 last year.
I'm wondering what his role is going to be in general. Like, what is going to be his role? Right? I mean, and Joe or Josh, I read the news every day that's going out because I do a daily football show. So yes, I read.
We're on top of the news. And this morning he was listening to Shefty because he was playing a Weehawken.
I was scrolling through Bleacher Report.
I heard Shefty coming out as
I got a show to do in 2 minutes, so I got to bounce out.
Yeah, get out of here. So yeah,
check out Science Talk with Smoking Jeremy B.
All right, we'll see you there, JV.
Thanks for coming, Jerry. Oh man, that was.
But awesome. I mean, it's. I don't know. I don't even know what Swift's role is going to be on this team, to be honest with you. I don't know if he's going to be the every, I don't know what his role is going to be. I mean, is he going to be the number one who's getting the bulk of the carries, or is it going to be Khalil Herbert? I mean,
I wouldn't have him be the number one.
Or is it going to go, or what about Roschon Johnson?
Yeah. He was good. I will say that from what I've seen from him, he did impress me.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the situation is going to be with him, Brent. I mean, look at that. It's not like he's the only running back in that room. They've got a guy who last year was the starter, was the reason they felt they could move on from David Montgomery, proved that that he could. Then they go and they get Roschon, who, if he had played at any other college, would have been the starting back for any other university in the planet when he was in. Except that it weren't where he was because, Bijan Robinson was there. So, Swift, that's going to be something to watch. But with that, and I think we've padded our time enough to give JB enough time to set his stuff up. We're out of here till tomorrow. Watch JB next on the network. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Around the Indoor Football World, Shield TV, and The Big Football Show. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla Hour, Broseph Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, Bodkin Show, and Spirit of Detroit Podcast. The nightly podcasts are Hallis Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Wrestling Roundup, Skull Gang 365, First and 10 with Foz, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballin' Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, 313 Den Podcast, Puckett, The Guys Huddle, Main Event Football Show, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, and Off the Rails. Hope you enjoy all the shows.